Hey everyone, today's episode is super exciting and we have got a cool guest, Anna Kalm. She's not just into tech, she's the brain behind Ascentic. Get ready for a fun chat as we talk about Anna's journey and what she's learned. No more waiting, let's give a big welcome to the awesome Anna Kalm. Anna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and that's a really nice introduction.
Now, reflecting on your journey, can you share a pivotal moment when you felt empowered as a woman in the tech industry, and how did it shape your career?
It's a good question. I think anyone, like, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man or whoever you are, whenever you try something that you think is a bit like, okay, this is a bit far-fetched, or you're not really sure if you will be able to do it, you just try it and it actually turns out well. And that feeling is, I think, really empowering for anyone. Just trying something that you didn't think that you maybe were equipped to do, and it's turning out really well.
When you have the urge to do something better, you always go on doing better, is what you're meaning, right?
Yeah, I think I've always had this urge to, whenever I see a problem or like an issue or something, I have this urge to get it fixed in some way. So I'm just a bit of a problem solver, and that's how I've ended up doing some different things. For example, starting companies and such.
That's awesome, Anna. Can you share the story behind the founding of Ascentic? Like, what inspired to start this journey in sustainable software development?
Yeah, so again, it comes down to me seeing a problem and trying to fix it. The background is that I was working for Microsoft back home in Sweden. I'm actually from Finland originally, but I've been studying in Sweden, and when I graduated, I joined Microsoft back in Sweden. And the tech industry of Sweden, it's a bit interesting because we are a quite small country. We're not that many in Sweden. We're about 10 million, but we are quite good at producing these large tech companies. And we're also a country that is quite quick to adapt to new technologies. So with that, we do have a quite high demand of tech talent and developers and different professionals in that field. But we don't have enough people basically in Sweden to cope with the demand. And that is something that I noticed in my work in Microsoft. I basically had this thought about where in the world could you find great developers, great IT professionals who could help these Swedish organizations to get their digital and IT projects done. So from there, me and my husband and some friends, we went to Sri Lanka for vacation, actually, originally. And at the start, we just really liked the country. And we felt that we wanted to go to Sri Lanka and do something. With my background, I started looking into the IT sector and found that there seems to be really good potential to do this kind of business, basically finding great developers, great IT professionals in Sri Lanka, and being able to offer different kind of software services back home to the Swedish market.
The story is really inspiring, Anna. Now let's talk about what makes Ascentic stand out. So in the competitive landscape of sustainable software development, what unique flavor does Ascentic bring to the table?
So from the start of the business, we had two things that we were focusing especially on. One thing, since we were from the start targeting the Swedish customer base or the Swedish market, we knew that the culture aspect, the Sri Lankan and the Swedish team members being able to work effectively together, that's going to be an important part. Software development today, it's complex. It requires a lot of communication and collaboration for it to be effective. So from the start, we built a company culture here in Sri Lanka that in many ways reflects the Swedish company cultures. So some principles that you would normally find in a Swedish company is having a quite flat hierarchy where everyone's opinions is expected to be heard. Doesn't matter if you're the most junior, the most senior, everyone's opinions should be reflected in the discussions so that we can take the best decisions in the end. And yeah, that with some other principles or parts from the Swedish typical company culture, we've been taking with us and building the company culture on also here in Sri Lanka. And I think that's something that has really helped us in the collaboration with our customers, and where our customers do see that they have an easy time collaborating, communicating with their team members, because to some extent they've been fostered into this Swedish Sri Lankan working culture. And the other thing that we've been focusing on, as you mentioned, it is a very competitive landscape also when it comes to finding the talent, finding the team members. So we came here 7 years ago. We didn't have, there wasn't a brand that anyone knew about, or we didn't have that to offer. So for us to be able to attract the best developers of Sri Lanka, we knew that we needed to build a workplace out of the ordinary that would really attract the talent that we wanted to have in the company. So from the start of the business, we had the vision to build the best workplace in Sri Lanka, and that is something that we have had as a really strong navigating light, so to say, in how we have been building the business, how we have been evolving it throughout the years.
That's awesome, Anna, and really great, because company culture is very important in everything, and that you emphasizes in a great way. Anna, after reading your LinkedIn post on why Sri Lanka became Ascentic based, I'm curious to know, are there any specific places in Sri Lanka like that hold a special place in your heart, or that you particularly enjoy exploring when you are in Sri Lanka?
Well, so one of the things that actually attracted me to Sri Lanka is the surfing, since I've always loved surfing, and down in the south coast of Sri Lanka and also on the east coast, you have probably some of the best waves in the world, and that you can actually enjoy pretty much throughout the year. So I really love going down to the south coast of Sri Lanka. With that said, I also really like the hill lands, going in up country, and seeing the mountains and experience the cooler climate. But we usually go down south and enjoy the beaches and the surfing when we have some time off.
And when it comes to collaboration, how do you go about building strong networks, especially with other women in tech? Some women might feel lost on where to start off. If their contribution are whether needed, they might get self-doubt. So what advice do you have for them to access opportunities and gain guidance addressing doubts and empowering them in the tech industry? Because we see a low amount of women participating in the tech, right? So what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, and it's I would say it's very similar. Like in Sweden and in Sri Lanka, we have a ratio of about 33 to 35% female representation in the tech industry, which is obviously way too low. I think one of the things that we are lacking, and that we want to that can actually help, is seeing more role models, actually seeing other females in the industry who have taken that career path, and who have progressed throughout their career in that specific industry. So I think it's important to find role models that has a career that you're interested in, and you can also always reach out and see if it's possible for that person to maybe even become your mentor, to bounce thoughts and ideas about your own career with. But yeah, finding role models, and if you are also a woman in tech, being a bit out there to inspire other women who are interested but not sure if it's a field for them. I think that's really important.
Exactly, Anna. Thank you for sharing the advice. The founder of Ascentic, have you observed any gender gaps in the workplace? Do you feel that women are adequately represented? And if not, what factors contribute to this imbalance? And on the other hand, if Ascentic had successfully fostered gender equality, can you share some strategies or initiatives that have contributed to this positive environment?
Yeah, so Asentic is actually like our female representation is actually quite like similar to the standard representation that we have in the industry. So we have about 35% females in the company, which for me, of course, like it is too low. I do want to have it more balanced, and it's something that we're working on. We do have in our senior management team, we have actually 60% female representation compared to 40% male. And I think that is one good thing, because with that, you know, again, we have these female role models for people within the company, but also outside of the company, to see that, yes, you can actually have a really good career in tech. You can, you know, go a long way within this field itself. Talking about what we can do to improve the conditions also for women in the field, one thing that we have observed is that many females find it challenging as soon as they start having a family. So when they, for example, start having children, they both feel that it's difficult to manage both work and kids, also because we do have quite unequal parental leave policies in Sri Lanka, where the female is usually the one who has to stay home with the child, and the male, the father, doesn't actually have pretty much any parental leave to be able to even support with that part. So that is one of the big problems, where females do tend to start falling behind in the career, and where it basically gets a bit more of an uphill to get back into it. It's not impossible, obviously, but it definitely like is a tougher time for a female compared to a male when they are starting to have a family. So that is something that we want to try to improve or contribute to. One of the ways that we did that was to introduce our equal parental leave, where both mothers and fathers have the same amount of parental leave in Asentic. It's just one of the things that we think will be important and required for us to actually have a more balanced industry going forward.
That's great to hear, and introducing something as parental leave for father is also very important, to have a very balanced environment in the family, so that the women also can focus the same way as men. And it's really amazing. So, all right, like time for a quick fire. So round with a little twist. So as we have been with a traditional question. So let me ask you now, working while sitting on a beach or in a mountain retreat?
A good question. I actually do prefer working at the office. I'm here now in the Ascentic office, and it's really nice. It's one of my favorite places in Sri Lanka. But if I would have to choose, it would be then on the beach after a good morning surf.
Favorite tech gadget you cannot live without?
Well, I guess it would be my, yeah, boring, but my phone.
Tea or coffee?
Mm. Coffee, definitely. I'm actually drinking tea right now for my throat, but I'm a heavy coffee drinker.
What is the go-to snack?
Ooh, go to snack. I have many different, but right now I'd say bananas. I love the Sri Lankan bananas.
And one word that defines a great workplace culture at Ascentic.
I think it comes down to trust. From the start, we've always had like a very, you know, the cornerstone of that, like if we don't trust our team members and the people in the company, you know, we will never be able to do good stuff. And if they don't trust us and the leadership, you know, we will never have a good culture or a good environment here. So trust, I think, is one of the most important things for us.
That's great, Anna. Let's move back to the questions. Anna, like being a leader in tech often comes with challenges. So how do you handle them as a woman in the industry? Like, can you take us on a more personal journey and share a specific story or experience where you navigated a challenge?
Yeah. Well, obviously, like a startup journey, it comes with a lot of obstacles and challenges. And we've, faced so many different things. Both, of course, during COVID, it was quite hard to navigate through the lockdowns and all of that. We've also gone through times where customers have had to scale down their teams, and we've, been scrambling for, getting new customers in. I think for me, what I've found to be really important is that sometimes when you're like, working a lot, you're getting stressed out, you're like just trying to fix everything. The best thing that you can actually do is to take a few steps back, go for a workout, go for a surf, just do something completely different for some time, even if everything in you says that, oh no, but I just need to work, work, work to get everything fixed. Just take a few steps back, because with that you will have a fresher mind and be able to look at things more yeah, with a better perspective and with a fresher mind. So yeah, don't yeah, it's important to be able to step back also in times when things are tough and challenging.
Exactly. So when life throws challenges, we have to step back a little, be relaxed, and then start on and be hard on ourselves.
Yeah, and of course, like, you can't build a company without having the grit and resistance and like, keep pushing. And, most entrepreneurs, they do have that like, they will continue to work until they fix whatever the issue is. But with that also, like, if you're just going at it and you're just like, working day and night trying to fix things, you really have to be able to also like take some steps back and relax, do something else to refresh your mind, because it's so important to be able to take the right decisions about your company.
Exactly. And now with the all your roles at Ascentic, like what's currently making you feel grateful? Is there something that is bringing joy to your work or personal life?
Yeah, well, I would say like the thing that from the start has and like still now like has always made me feel the most happy with my work is when because what we do is we put together these software development teams that work then directly with the customer. So they work with different projects, different you know um, mm, different initiatives that the customer is having, and they work directly with the customer. So the best feeling is still when we onboard a new customer or we onboard a new team member into a team, and the customer is just like, wow, this person is amazing. She is contributing so well, sharing so many good ideas, and we really see such a great contribution from the person. And the same from the team members here, when you feel that like, oh, they're able to get their ideas through, when the customer is listening to their thoughts and perspectives, and that they feel that they're learning a lot of new stuff and get challenged in their profession. That is just the best feeling for me.
Great to hear that, Anna. And yeah, Anna, with the like tech industry changing quickly, what do you see exciting opportunities for women? Like from your own journey, like how can women make the most of these chances, advancing their careers and also empowering others in tech? Like what additional factors make a career in tech promising?
Well, I would say it's definitely, as you say, it's a really interesting industry to go into, because things are changing so rapidly and there's so much progress happening. Um, I would say for anyone who is interested, just grab the opportunity and get in there. And there's so many different career opportunities in tech also these days. You can, if you're interested in like numbers and statistics, go into data science and like find your career path there, because there's so many opportunities in that. If you're more like artistic, go into UI UX designing, become a great like designer. If you're like into hardcore coding, and if especially like if you like problem solving and like logical thinking and building stuff, have a career in as a developer. It's a great career to have for anyone who is really like getting triggered about like solving challenges and building stuff just by like, you know, tapping the keyboard and writing some code. So yeah, just find the area that you think, you know, you will be good at, where you have strengths that you think will be a good match, and go for it. It's such a great career to go into.
That was a great piece of advice, Anna. And as a leader in the tech industry, like what key lessons have you learned from your experiences? And additionally, like if you could share one piece of advice or a message with the broader community, especially those who wants to come into the tech industry, what would it be?
So lessons learned, it's obviously a lot of different things since during these years we have tried out a lot of different things, and some have gone right, some have gone wrong, and there's been lessons with everything. But I think maybe one of the things, like also like if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, like starting a company, I think it's so important to follow your own instinct, your own gut, because a lot of times, you know, when building companies, so many people will have different opinions about like, oh, you should be doing this and you have to do that and not this and like that. And definitely it's good to take some advice and like hear what other people think and hear from their experience. But you know, that is just input. You always need to take that in and, you know, use your own instinct, your own gut, like what does your gut feeling actually tell you to do? Don't go with someone else's opinion just because it feels like, they have so much more experience than you. So going with your own instinct and trusting that, I think, is a really important thing that I've learned. And one advice to the general community, also difficult, but if it's one thing that I've that I always say that to maybe like people in the industry or people who are like starting a career in tech and so on, they're like, okay, how do I make sure that I have a good career? How do I make sure that I get noticed in the organization and, you know, can progress well? I would always say that, like, you know, make sure that you're the person who gets things done. Because in any organization, there's always so many people with different ideas, and they can spot problems, or they can, you know, come up with an idea or an opportunity. But being the person who can also take that and find a solution for the problem and present that, or see an opportunity and give like okay, and this is how I think we should approach it, and also, you know, run the course, get it done. That is the kind of people who really gets noticed in organizations. That is the people who any leader, any chief wants to have in their team. And those are the people who tend to get fast-tracked through their careers, because you see that this is a person who don't just see things, but they actually also act on it and make something good out of it. So that is one advice that I would definitely give.
That's a great piece of advice, and thank you so much for sharing it. And now, like, we had come to the end of our session, and I want to thank you wholeheartedly, because from the busy schedule, from the company, you located a time from me, because as I asked you, I'm being a leader of a very famous and a large company. So, and it's very amazing. And to be honest, I was very astonished when you replied to me, and I was at first I felt a bit hesitant to message and ask, but I thought, okay, but it would be better because I really admire you. And I really like when women are taking the leadership role and doing something. So that's something that I feel as a woman, I feel very happy about it. So thank you so much for allocating a time for my session, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me. And I always try to like do these kind of things. As I mentioned initially, I think one of the things that we are really lacking is role models in this industry. You know, it's the same for me. I'm a female founder building a company, and something that I do see a lack of is other female founders who are out there building big companies, and that you can like take inspiration from. So I think it's really important that if we want to have more role models going forward in this industry, we who are in this industry also needs to step out there and become a bit more visible, I think.